Eisner and our CEO and Executive Director, Josh Fagelson. Don't turn away watching the news without losing your mind. Very, very important in these days, helping us to find a new way to navigate the headlines without losing our center, to do so mindfully. So that is also there, and the link will be there after class. And lastly, I will be leading a retreat at Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health in the Berkshires of Western Massachusetts, December 4 through 7, Thursday evening to Sunday. Beautiful chance to be together in person with my colleagues, Rabbi Claudia Kramen from Brookline, Mass, and Rabbi Cantor Danielle Ben Simchon from from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. And we're going to have a beautiful Shabbat of movement, of prayer, of being together. And Kripalu is an extraordinary place to do spiritual work. If you're looking for rest, retreat, renewal, community, please check out that link and consider joining us. My friends, today is the 5th of Cheshvan, and for those clergy in the room, we really love the month of Cheshvan, known as Mar Cheshvan, the bitter month, because there are no holidays, but we think it's fantastic because we finally get a little bit sort of break. So welcome to the 5th of Cheshvan. Today is October 27, and it is the 7th anniversary of the Pittsburgh Tree of Life shootings. And so I want to give a very special shout out to our friends from Pittsburgh. 11 people were killed on that day, and we remember them. We never forget them. I have a personal connection to Tree of Life. I was Cantor there for the high holidays one year in the early 2000s. And my dear friend, Joyce Feinberg, was among those murdered on that day. So thinking of her, thinking of the community, thinking of our friend, Cantor Rabbi Jeff Myers, who leads the community, and sending strength to him and to all of Squirrel Hill. So the parasha this week is one of my favorite, Lech Lecha, and we're going to talk about that. Let's take a seat. It could be on a blanket or some kind of prop up. You want to have your hips higher than your knees. Or if you like, it could be on the chair. If that's more comfortable for you, please do that. We're just going to begin with some breathing. And I want to give a little heads up that today's class is going to be very body specific. We're going to kind of look at one thing sort of throughout, look at the whole class through that lens. And it's nuanced, it's specific, it's a little body personal. It may not be for everyone. And so I want to say that if you find that it's not for you, just let my words go over you and you can practice your poses. And if it feels weird or not accessible, please do you. Now you're probably very eager to know what I'm going to be talking about with that strange introduction, but I want to just give a lot of space to do your practice as you need it today. So firstly, finding a comfortable seat where you really have access to your base, sort of the base of your pelvic floor. That is, you feel tailbone, sitting bones, firmly against some support, and the spine rises tall. You could take 2 hands to the lower belly or a hand to the low belly and the low back. Begin to breathe, and I specifically would like to draw our focus very much downward to the breath in the low belly. That is the navel and below the navel. What we often refer to as the pelvic bowl. So today we're not going to be as concerned with the breath in the ribs or the upper chest, but really this low area, we call it the pelvic bowl because it's as if you could imagine the breath as filling that bowl with water and then draining it, perhaps, if you're an image person. And also you want to sit up and evenly on those sitting bones so that bowl doesn't tip forward or tip back, but is nicely balanced. And just bringing the attention to the low belly, to the pelvic bowl. And as you do this, and as you keep hands here to really help feel the breath, I want to share with you some words from wonderful writer and somatic wise person, Philip Shepard, from a book called Radical Wholeness, The Embodied Present and the Ordinary Grace of Being. Resensitizing the pelvic bowl awakens the place in the body where the center of your awareness can come to rest, centered in the intelligence of the body. Experientially, the pelvic floor is the very ground of your being, and the center of the pelvic floor is the perineum. I'll pause there for just a moment before I continue. So the perineum is between the genitals and the anus. And we want to see if we can draw up that area. So basically he's saying that forms the base of the pelvic floor. So it's not a Kegel, like you're squeezing like you have to go to the bathroom. It's not there, it's further back, but also it's not you're squeezing that you have to go to the bathroom number 2. It's in between. It's subtle. See if you can pulse, draw it up. That is not draw up, squeeze, 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 but a little pulse, release. See if you can contact that place. And if not, no worries. Just continue to breathe and expand and feel open in the pelvic floor. We want a softening. So he says, experientially, the pelvic floor is the very ground of your being. The center of the pelvic floor is the perineum. Until that place is available, until you can come home to yourself by landing there, the center of your awareness will tend to scamper back up into the head. And from there, it can notice, quote, the body's sensations, but will be unable to unite with them. So he's saying, when we're just noticing sensation from our head space, that's not uniting with body sensation, right? That's not yoga. Those are my words. Yoga is unification, right? So we want to move from the head, we want to move our awareness down, 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 all the way to the pelvic floor. And the center of the floor, he says, is the perineum. When you liberate the center of your awareness from the head, drop it through the body, and allow it to come to rest on the perineum, you soften onto the currents of the voluble present and activate the still point of your core, the center of your intelligence from which wholeness can be felt. We could just look at, from all I said, this last part. Activate the still point of your core. So we're not talking about core as abs. We're talking about center of center being very low, being the perineum. That is the center of your intelligence from which wholeness can be felt. Okay, so why do we want to activate this still point of our core? Let's just take a moment of quiet once again to see if we can reconnect with low belly, with pelvic bowl, and to subtly lift, on occasion, the perineum, the space between the genitals and the anus, the base of the pelvic floor. Now, it's known of the chakras as the root, right? And if you're familiar, and we'll get to this at the end of the class with bandhas, with the locks, it's the root lock, is to lift up the perineum. Okay, why did I start here rather than with Lech Lecha? Now we're gonna see that. Okay, so it's Parshat Lech Lecha, and of course the famous and the real ikar of interest for us is this verse. Vayomer Adonai el Avram, the Holy One said to Avram, Lech lecha, go, me'artzecha umimoladeticha, from your land, from the place you were born, umi beit avicha, and from your father's house, el haaretz asher areka. Go, get up from the land you were born, from the place of your ancestors to the land that I will show you. The journey is about who we are inside and who we are called to be in this world, right? We have small lech lecha, lechi lach, in the feminine moments of calling to get up and move and go somewhere, right? And we have very large moments, maybe a few times in our life, whether it's to enter a career or leave a job or enter a relationship or leave a relationship, these big sort of seismic callings, right? Small and large. Rabbi Lev Yitzchak of Berdichev, that is the Kedushat Levi, he comments on this. This is what the Kedushat Levi says. This is a fundamental lesson, Lech Lecha, right? Wherever you go, you are going to your rooted place, to your shoresh, he says, to the root. That is what God meant in saying, Lech Lecha, go forth, go to your source, go to your root, go to your shoresh, and from there, raise up the sparks. Very Hasidic term, to raise up the sparks of divine work in this world, of raising our vibes, as they say. And then this is a little bit of commentary from Rabbi Lisa Gelber that comes from this wonderful book, Torah Without End, which was a publication of IJS in honor of the retirement of Rabbi Jonathan Slater. And Rabbi Lisa Gelber says, life is a journey toward the essence of who we are, the core that holds us upright as a human created in God's image. This is the place from which we raise up the sparks of our unique self. This is the energy and focus connected to our root soul, to the source of our being. So the connection I'm making between what Philip Shepard says about the perineum being our center of awareness to what the Kedusha Levi says, which is go to your root. I'm taking us literally to our root to find some amount of softening, of opening, of healing, and of simply connection to take us so far down from our heads so that when it arises, we can hear that call of Lech Lecha, Lechilach, because we're so present to our own literal root that we can hear and know. So our practice today is going to be in all the poses that we come to, and let's come to standing now to see if we can find the base of the pelvic floor, the root of ourselves. So we're looking from a slightly different vantage point, right? We often will come into mountain pose. We often come here with a sense of the four corners of the feet and et cetera, our alignment. Yes, we want to find that. But in this moment, can you again find the breath in the low belly? That's number one. Find the pelvic bowl. Number two, soften the pelvic bowl to the best of your ability. In any amount you can. And then number three, can you find a little bit of lift of the perineum? Again, not a squeezing, a subtle lift. So maybe it's a pulsing, it's a lift, 3 seconds, release. And how does that inform the pose? From here, we're going to go to warrior two. Optional, you can take a chair. We're going to take it 2 times to each side. So if you have a chair, you could start there. If you have no chair, no problem. But we're going to all look at the same thing, which is a sense of the root, the center of the pelvic bowl. So it's a little easier to find it when we actually have a little bit of touch connection something to rest on. So here we find ourselves in Warrior Two on the right side. See that the knee does not go past the ankle. You can take the arms with you. And once you're here and open, can you find the breath into the pelvic floor, pelvic bowl, and some softening, and then a sense of a lift on the perineum, going to our shoresh, going to our root. And then release, and we'll take the other side. So just for a moment, see if we can contact the pelvic floor. Okay, and then release. If you had the chair, then we'll get rid of the chair. And we'll take this pose one more time to each side. And I'll just give us a little silence, taking a couple breaths on each side, and just see if you can contact that place. The root, the shoresh, the root lock. And then when you've taken each side one more time, come back to mountain pose. So this is a pose of great stability, ease, and see once again if you can find this. And I want to add that the pelvis is a place in general, be it hips, low back, pelvic floor, where trauma is often stored. And so it's not for everybody to access this place, and never ever push past your window of tolerance, right? Your comfort area. So if any difficult sensations arise, again, just practice your practice. You don't have to go to this deep place. The body holds the greatest wisdom and will always let us know when it's ready to show us something. From here, we're going to take wide legs, forward fold. You might wish for your chair in front or your block, or perhaps your hands are going to come to the floor. So depending on your flexibility in this moment, set yourself up for success. We never want to overdo. We always want to be practicing right where we are. So find wide legs, toes pointing in a little if it's okay for your ankles, or outer edges of the feet parallel to the outer edges of the mat. Find your stance, and sometimes this connection to the pelvic bowl and to the perineum helps us with balance, which we'll kind of look for a little bit too in the next pose. So again, sort of I'm breaking this down to like 3 steps. The first, find the breath low in the pelvic bowl. Second step, see where you can soften in this area. And then third, draw a little lift to the perineum. And again, I remind you, not a gripping, not a squeezing, not a tightening, just a subtle lifting. Take the hands to the hips. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades toward each other, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward, hinging at the hips, and take the hands down. Straight legs, right? And you can always shorten or lengthen your stance. Long spine. You can come to flat back as I'm doing or fold forward further, taking the head towards the floor. Draw the thighs back in space. And once again, can you, in this orientation, contact the root? And bring a slight lift. As you investigate deepening into this pose, and as you are ready, start to unwind and release the pose. Step or hop the feet together. Find mountain pose for a moment. The next pose we're going to look at is tree pose. And see if this contacting, moving our awareness down to the root, down to the base of the pelvic floor, does it give us any assistance with balance? So I want to remind you, many options for tree pose. If you're struggling with balance, you might put your back body entirely at the wall, or you may take one foot up at the chair. It's a really beautiful tree pose. Or you might just kickstand your foot so that you have a little place at the floor, or you can use your block. Right, so find a tree pose that's satisfactory to you. Find your standing leg on the right, really nice and sturdy. Turn out from the left hip. Place the foot. Never place the foot against the knee. You don't want that. So leg to the foot, foot to the leg. And then see if you can draw energy literally like up the center line here by lifting the perineum. Notice if you have any judgment or you have any impatience with yourself. This is a very nuanced practice, very nuanced request today. Release when you're ready. And it's something that takes really years of practice and a long time to find. So don't try to be really compassionate and spacious with yourself if it's not coming on the first 10 tries. Shifting the weight over to the left leg, and turn out at the right hip, and place the foot. And again, we have the four corners of the feet stamping down to support us, but can we also support with the base of the pelvic bowl? And with the breath nice and low. When you're ready, release. Find mountain pose. We're going to take it to the floor and come sit up again so that your hips are a little bit elevated. And we will take cobbler's pose to begin. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. So a few options for this. If the hips are very tight and you need some space for the knees, sit up on a chair so that your feet are low. Right? And then you'll have much less angle at the hips. That would give you the most space in this pose. You can have more than one blanket and prop yourself up more to also make more space for the hips. And you can also have your feet a little further away from the body. Not the closer you have them into the groin, the more it's going to be for the knees. This is not a pose of pressing the knees down in any way. This is really a pose for the hips, for allowing the hips to open and allowing the thighs to externally rotate. So let's sit up nice and tall by taking the hands behind us and drawing the elbows back, squeezing the shoulder blades toward each other and lifting the chest. So we can find that lift, and then you can take the hands to the ankles or to the big toes. And once again, we take that 3-step process. Bring the breath low, below the navel, into the pelvic bowl. See where you can soften, and then see if you can bring a rise, a lift to the perineum. And as you do so, can you continue to let the breath flow smoothly? So sometimes there's a tendency as we lift up to hold the breath. It's kind of like this thing, unrelated. See if we can separate them. And then from here, just bring your knees together, give them a shake. You could take windshield wipers if you like, side to side. And then we're going to take the legs wide. And once again, take the hands behind, sit up tall. And again, find the breath low. Soften. And bring a lift to the perineum. And then, if you'd like, as you're ready, begin to fold forward over the legs. Inhale and come up. We're going to turn to face the right leg. And I like to take hold of opposite sides of the mat to help me turn the upper body to face the right leg, pulling on that front arm and pushing a little on the back. Inhale tall, and then if you'd like, folding forward over the leg, maybe taking hold of the foot, or continuing to use the hands to help you twist the torso to fold. And then again, even here, can you contact the pelvic bowl? and soften and find a lift to the perineum. Inhale and come on up, and we'll take the other side, shifting to face over the left leg. Again, you can use the hands onto the mat. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale from the pelvic floor to the crown. Inhale and come up. We're going to come to the floor. Just take a moment to feel this new orientation toward the earth, with the back body supported. Take a scan through the body and see generally, is there anywhere you can soften? Shoulders, throat. And we're going to take a low bridge, so grab hold of your block. I'll suggest the lowest height, but if you want it a little higher, you can. Press into the feet, lift the hips up, and place the block right under the sacrum, right under the back of the hips. I would not do this on the highest level for this particular awareness exercise that we're doing. So it's not so much about doing an active bridge as much as finding the pelvic floor in this position. And if the low block is too high, use the blanket. Folded blanket will be a little lower. So here you can just rest the shoulders. Find some ease where the base of the skull meets the softness of the neck. Let the hips really descend heavy to the block. Feel the breath fill the pelvic bowl. So instructions are the same. Go to your root. Go to your shoresh. And see where in the pelvic floor you can find some softening, releasing. And then see if you can bring up a lift on the perineum. Maybe try that 5 times to lift and relax. And then repeat. And then once you've tried that 5 times, we're going to take the legs in the air for a supported shoulder stand. And here you could tuck your shoulders under you and turn your palms up. It's a nice little shoulder stand variation. It gets our inversion practice in. Be here and breathe. And then bend the knees, and with the block still there, hug your knees to your chest. If that's not comfortable, you can remove the block. Sometimes the block kind of hits in a painful place on the low back. See if you can adjust it, but if not, just lose the block. What's nice is it gives you kind of quite an opening in the kidney area with this angle, with the support from the block. And then from here, you can release the block. Bring the spine down. And again, take hold of each knee with your hand and just make circles with your knees, just guiding this from your hands to massage out the low back. And for our stillness practice, let's take the blanket, give it a little jelly roll, like so. Place it under the knees or even under the roots of the thighs, like right up where the thigh meets the buttock. That can be nice. Anywhere along the thigh or under the knee. And lengthen the legs. And of course, if this isn't comfortable, you can take any other version, maybe lower legs to the chair or fetal position, or even prone with the blanket under your hips and the forehead to the floor. And just taking a few minutes here for stillness. Let go of the breath, let go of attention to the breath. Let go of any instructions. There's nowhere you need to go and nothing you need to do. Be still. Dushat Levi, this is a fundamental lesson. Wherever you go, you are going to your rooted place. That is what God meant in saying, go forth, lech lecha. Go to your source, to your shoresh, and there raise up those sparks. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. And take your time, slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat. Again, either supported on the blanket or block or chair, where you can find support for the base of the pelvic floor. We're going to work for a moment with breath retention and the locks, as I mentioned, the root lock and the chin lock. So I'll just talk you through it once before we do it, and then we'll do a few cycles. What we're going to do is breathe in 3-part as we do. So filling belly, ribs, all the way up to the upper chest. And then we're going to lift the perineum and hold the root lock. And then we're going to lift the chin and come over the throat, the chin lock, and hold the breath in. Couple seconds, and then we're going to release both locks, release the chin, release the perineum, and exhale completely. When we engage the locks, the idea is that we're retaining, holding in Sanskrit, in the yoga philosophy, the prana, the life force, and in our language, the chiyut, the life force, right? Chai, living, the chiyut, holding in that possibility that's in the neshima, in the breath, and in the neshama, in the soul. Okay, so here we go. Just letting the breath be for a moment. And then once you complete your next exhale, inhale fully. Apply the root lock. Apply the chin lock. Hold. Release the locks. Exhale. Regular breath. Inhale. Then exhale. And once again, inhale fully. Lift the perineum. Lift the chin and come over the throat. Lock the breath in. Release the chin. Release the root lock. Exhale. Couple of breaths normally. It's nice to let it return and settle between cycles. As you're ready, inhale. Root lock, chin lock, hold. Release chin, release root, exhale. Let the breath flow naturally. Again, inhale. Apply the locks. Hold. Release the locks, release the breath, exhale. One more time. Inhale. Full breath. Apply the locks. Hold. Release the locks. Exhale. The breath return to normal. If it's comfortable and safe for you, close the eyes. Let the breath be natural. And we end as we began, taking a hand to the low belly, perhaps a hand to the low back, and feeling the breath inhabit and enliven the pelvic bowl. When you liberate the center of your awareness from the head, drop it through the body and allow it to come to rest on the perineum. You soften into the currents of the voluble present and activate the still point of your core, the center of your intelligence from which wholeness can be felt. Our kavanah for this week, may this inquiry plant an awareness within each and every one of us in our very deepest core, deepest space. The possibility to listen for that lech lecha or lechilach call, which might ask us to leave the unfamiliar, leave the familiar toward the unfamiliar, which may call us on possibly a bumpy journey, a jumpy journey too, possibly. A bumpy journey into our own transformation and ultimately transformation for our communities, our planet. Ken Ratson, maybe so. As you're ready, you can release the hands and allow the eyes to open and come back to your space. Thank you all for practicing. Again, a reminder, please take a look at the links for the upcoming courses, for the Kripalu retreat. Hope you'll join me. And please, if it moves you, please make a donation to IJS in any amount. You can do so in honor of someone, in memory of somebody. It's a beautiful way to make a difference. So thank you.